Good Saturday morning to you. If you hear noise in the background, Sid is pressure spraying the house. So the other day I canned chicken that we raised and butchered ourselves, and I've had some broth going. The other day I showed you I put the bones and the leftover little pieces of the chicken into the crock pot, and I have made a broth. And so today I'm going to can this broth. I have a friend that told me how, and anyway, so it'll be good to have chicken broth on hand. And so once again, come along with me for this process. Okay, so here's my lovely chicken broth that's been going in the crock pot for, let's see, when did I can those chickens? Thursday, I believe, and today's Saturday, so it's been in the crock pot for a couple of days. So today I am going to use the hot in my jars into hot water instead of the cold method that I used the other day. Since this broth is already hot, then I'm going to do that. And so I'm just going to fill up my jars and see how many I get. I've got my canner over here, and I'm getting some water heated in it so I can put the hot jars into the hot water. Okay, so I ended up with 4 full quarts of broth. Little bit of sludge mixed with some broth down at the bottom of the crock pot. I will figure out something to do with that, add it to a soup or do something with it. So don't forget to take your vinegar and your paper towel and wipe the rims of your jars before you put the lids on them. Over here I have my lids hot and ready to go. I've also got hot water in the crock pot because this time around, as I told you earlier, I'm going hot into hot, unlike the chicken where I did cold into cold. So let me get my jars ready and we'll get them put in the pressure canner. Okay, I got my jars in. Look at those pretty lids. Someone gave those to me a while back and I'm finally getting to use them. I'm going to get the lid on the canner and get it all fastened down, and then I will show you the rest of the process. Okay, and just like the chicken the other day, we are going to wait until we see, we're going to get it boiling, which it shouldn't take too long because I already had it boiling whenever I put the chicken broth in, but we're going to wait and let it boil, and then we're going to watch for a steady stream of the steam coming from this vent hole here. And once that's going for 10 minutes, just a steady stream of it, then we will put our pressure gauge rocker, whatever it is, okay? Don't make fun of me. I don't know all the terms, but we'll put our little pressure gauge rocker at 10 pounds of pressure. So you line it up, the number 10 with the hole onto this little vent pipe, and then we're going to wait for the gauge to get to 10 pounds of pressure. And once that happens, we're going to process this broth for 25 minutes. Okay, so in case you're wondering, this is the model number that I have, and I've loved it. It's great. It is one that does not have a gasket that goes on the inside of it. If this lid were off and you were to look in here, which I should have shown you, maybe I can show you another time, it has a beveled edge all around the pressure canner, and so probably about, after you use it about 3 times, so about every 3rd time or after every 3rd use, put a little olive oil around that beveled edge, and that kind of acts as a natural gasket or a sealer for you. And so anyway, I've really enjoyed it. Okay, so we've had the 10 minutes of steam. So here I go. I'm putting 10 pounds of pressure. It always scares me when I first go to put that thing on there. So now what we're waiting for is for this gauge here to get to 10 pounds of pressure. Once it gets to 10 pounds of pressure, we're going to set our timer for 25 minutes, and then we'll turn off our stove and go through the same process we went through the other day when we canned chicken, but I'll give you a reminder just in case you need it when that time comes. And we're already there, so I'm going to turn my heat down, and I'm also just going to be watching my heat, because if this starts rising above what it needs to be or falling below what it needs to be, then I'm going to need to either turn the heat up or down. And timer, 25 minutes, start. Okay, I'll see ya in 25 minutes. Alright, my timer for 25 minutes has gone off. And so like I told you the other day whenever I was canning the chicken, to make sure that you let this pressure gauge go all the way to 0 before you try to remove this pressure rocker, whatever it's called. Alright. Okay, so that piece that I kept saying whatever it's called, it is a I've already forgotten. Okay, so that piece that I kept saying, I kept calling it a rocker or whatever it's called a regulator or counterweight. So anyway, there you go. I didn't have my owner's manual available. It is still at our other house, and so I just fought the urge to be lazy and just looked it up. Okay, so that little part that I kept saying whatever it's called, or rocker, pressure gauge rocker, it's the one that has the numbers on it, and you put the hole over the little spot where the steam vents out. It's actually called a counterweight pressure regulator, and I think that was it. Okay, so that little part that I kept saying whatever it is, or pressure rocker, pressure gauge, it's actually called, it's got 3 names. Counterweight, why do I keep forgetting? I gotta write it down. Okay, so that little piece that I kept on saying whatever it is, it's got 3 names. A counterweight, a weighted gauge, or a pressure regulator. I looked it up. I could have looked it up in my owner's manual, but my owner's manual is still at the other house, and so I just went ahead and hopped on DuckDuckGo and looked it up. You're welcome.